Good afternoon, YouTube. I thought I'd talk about bug prevention today because that's mainly my philosophy. I think if you can prevent a problem before it becomes a problem, you're halfway there. And the reason I'm thinking about this is on Monday we had a fantastic day. We had lovely sunshine. It was 25 degrees in the Orchid house outside, and out in the open it was about 20. So I thought, oh, I need to start thinking about prevention now for bugs. So my first line of defence, if you like, is this neem tree granules. Really like these granules. They're excellent. I find that they work pretty good for me. Although I've only been growing orchids since last November, I haven't had any issues with my outdoor orchids using this at the moment. And how I use it is the moss that I have around the top of the pots, the plants, the orchids, I remove that and then I just sprinkle 1 teaspoon of this stuff around the top of the bark and put the moss back on. So that's the first line of defence of anything that's growing in the soil or in the bark medium. So that's good for that. The second line of defence is the oil. You can mix this up. You need to mix it up with warm water, and you can give everything a good spray with that, and that's a prevention as well. So that's a really good, those two products are excellent and you want to use those. And I have used this neem tree oil to treat a couple, well I think about 8 of my baby Phalaenopsis that had some woolly aphid on them back along, and it took care of it, no problem. I had 2 treatments of that and it was really good. And what I use in between those 2 things as a preventative is these 2. Now these aren't the only natural oils you can use. There is a whole host of them. If you look up online or Google it, there's loads. There's, thinking off the top of my head, you've got orange oil, cedar oil, lavender, obviously eucalyptus, and there has a whole host of different natural oils you can use, and it must be the natural oil, not the false stuff that you can get, the false sprays and that. It needs to be the proper stuff. And you can use that as a preventative and a natural treatment as well. So for me, how I use these 2 products, if you've watched my channel, you'll know that I use the lavender spray and the eucalyptus spray occasionally to spray the dog beds down, to prevent lots of doggy smells in my house, because obviously 3 dogs. I don't want my house smelling doggy when I have visitors. So I use this on all their beds, etc. And I've also I've been using it, I've looked it up and it's safe, and I use it on my Phalaenopsis. So when I want to spritz them, if it's a particularly dry day and the fog is not quite coping, I will use the lavender spray and or the eucalyptus spray just to give them a spray down, and I think that also helps preventing bugs landing on the leaves. And I will spray under the leaves and on top of the leaves, obviously being careful not to get too much water on the crown, because you don't want that. And these are pretty good, these sprayers. They do spray a nice fine mist, so I don't have to worry too much about getting too much on the crown of the plants. And how I mix it, the ratio, I mean, you can go on online and look, but I do this pipette. So I just put it inside the bottle, squeeze it, and it sucks up as much as it goes in there. Put that in there. So I probably about 5 mils to 500 millilitres of water, and it's warm water. Don't spray your plants with cold water. It's not good for them. Probably gives them a bit of a shock. So that's what I use. I find it very helpful. There is another product that I use, which I don't have here at the moment, but I use that mainly for my outdoor roses and stuff. and it's a systemic product, which is excellent, which means, systemic means that the plant absorbs it and takes it on board. So when a little buggy comes along and has a nibble, it doesn't like it, and hopefully it flies off to your neighbour's property and eats their roses instead of yours. Excellent product. It's made by Yates. Not that I'm promoting them, but it's made by Yates, and it's called Super Shield. And I use that on my citrus, I use it on my roses, and it can be used on any ornamental plants. And I have sprayed it on my orchids as a prevention, and it didn't harm them at all. It was fine. And I used it on the outside orchids, the ones out in the outside orchid house. And I will use it on them this year, because I intend to try and put some of my orchids outside as much as possible, obviously weather permitting. So that's it really. I want to just to talk about that, to let you know. The neem tree granules, I'm now going to bring over all my African violets and streptocarpus that I planted up. And I'm going to put a teaspoon of this stuff around the base of the plant and in the on top of the compost as a preventative of anything living in around the compost. So hopefully that'll do that. And I'll just sort of scrape it in a little bit, you know, just sort of use a little fork and just sort of fork it in a little bit. So obviously I can't get right down into the bottom of the plant without disturbing the roots too much, but hopefully as this stuff breaks down, it will you know, work as a preventative. And then obviously if I need to, if I get any bugs, I will spray with the neem tree oil, again using warm water. So I hope that's helpful. If anybody's got any questions, or please do comment. I do read all the comments, and I do try to answer most of them if I can, if I've got time. And if you've got any questions, then please put them in the comments and I'll try and answer them. Please like, please like, subscribe or dislike, and I'll catch up with you later. Bye for now.